I feel like a lot of us grew up and thought like, is that it? And don't recognize that the magic that you were feeling of your life was other people creating it for you.
The like trendy way to talk about it would be about like romanticizing your life,
Yeah.
right? Like I feel like that was a big trend in 2024, all the clips of people romanticizing the small moments of their lives. But I think there was like a leaning towards feeling like there was a certain amount of luxury that was required to romanticize your life. And I don't think that's what we're talking about either. I think what we're more talking about is like understanding that you have the free will to do whatever the hell you want to do to make your life less boring.
I don't know. Would we schedule our time to go out to eat?
No.
I don't think so.
This is Sistas Declassified, the podcast where
Taylor
and Taryn,
your virtual sisters, share experiences, insights, and of course the juicy secrets that never leave the sister circle.
So shh, listen up. The Declassified convos are starting now.
Welcome back to Sistas Declassified. We're real life sisters who decided to start our podcast instead of being bored.
Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to get your weekly dose of declassified moments.
So we're going to get into our declassified moment for today, and it's a declassified gospel.
Amen, amen.
Although, it might be a little bit hurtful.
Oh.
But our moment for today is just, your life isn't boring, you are.
Ooh.
Oof.
Did you feel that? Just a little bit?
I mean, I did a little bit when I thought about it.
I mean, I definitely do, because I be thinking, I know I'm boring. I'm self-aware.
Yeah. Well, not like, yeah, you are. But like, I think we don't realize how much we have to make our lives interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that we're responsible for it.
Yeah, we're responsible for all the joy. And I think we recognize that when we have children, that we're responsible for the children's joy.
Mm.
But if you're like a millennial like us with no kids,
mm-hmm.
you have to make the joy.
Yeah.
You have to figure out things that bring you peace and where you're not bored. I'm trying to say. I feel like a lot of us grew up and thought like, is that it? And don't recognize that the magic that you were feeling of your life was other people creating it for you.
Big facts. And just being booked and busy too, right? Because there was just a level of our lives that was planned and scheduled for us growing up, at least, that we didn't have a lot of control over, but that meant we was ripping and running and going somewhere.
Right. And I know people are like, oh, we don't want the hustle culture. And I don't think we're talking about that here. We're literally talking about not sitting on your butt doing nothing.
If that is not enjoyable to you.
But also, right, sure. You can sit on your butt and do nothing and not be bored, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely do that. So maybe it's also like your life isn't just, is it fulfilling?
Right. And I think the like trendy way to talk about it would be about like romanticizing your life, right? Like I feel like that was a big trend in 2024, all the clips of people romanticizing the small moments of their lives. But I think there was like a leaning towards feeling like there was a certain amount of luxury that was required to romanticize your life. And I don't think that's what we're talking about either. I think what we're more talking about is like understanding that you have the free will to do whatever the hell you want to do to make your life less boring.
Yeah, and I thought about this topic in the first place because I was thinking about Kyra Henry and Christy. I don't know what her last name is. Christy, that's with Desmond.
Making the videos, the funny videos.
Yeah, where she's jumping, she's trying on shoes, she's doing all kinds of
stuff. She
got
a horse head on.
Which I will say, I don't love her content, but I love her message, if that makes sense. So like, I appreciate that she's just able to be silly and think of like the funniest thing to do just to bring joy to her day or to her husband's day or to her family.
Because he'd be laughing.
Or even to us as the viewers, right? Like, obviously they're doing it for money because this is her job, but also you don't become that just for work.
Right. There's some level of her that, or there's clearly a level of that is just her personality and how she chooses to live her life. And then she also flips on the camera.
Right, exactly. And then obviously now that it's taken off, I'm sure it's just gone to another level. But at some point, that was still her.
Right. And who was that first person you named?
Kyra. So Kyra does Family Stuff. I'm sure most of us know the Henrys. If you're on TikTok, you should know the Henrys, and I don't know how you don't know the Henrys.
I really don't.
But
Sorry to that family.
collects cups, and so her thing was like sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee, and sharing something kind of silly. She's like anti, but also, what's the word? Very sarcastic.
Okay.
So it's like satire. And so now she collects all these random types of cups, but now it's not even just cups. It's like, I'm going to drink out of my purse. I'm going to drink out of a fish tank. I'm going to drink out of, yeah.
Okay, now we sound like we're doing things for clicks, but.
and is, right? Because we got to get our money, which is fine. But also, there's a level of, I'm just practicing my free will here. Like, she has like a cupboard and she's like on the top of it. Why are you up there? But also, why not?
I guess that's one way of looking at it.
But just because, like, obviously you don't just do stuff because you can. But why not also?
I feel that. Sometimes I just be crunching on the leaves when I'm walking the dog just because.
Not crunching on the leaves. Sorry.
What? See, she be hating.
She's romanticizing.
Me. I'm romanticizing crush. Like, we in springtime, so it'd be less leaves now to be crunching. But like if I'm walking in the fall and just I see a leaf, crunch, next leaf, crunch, and it just be like, why not? To crunch on the leaves.
Yay.
It's the little things, okay? It's the little things.
We all gotta start somewhere.
She be hating on me.
No, that's definitely somewhere to start.
She told me to have small joys and then laughs at my small joys.
I'm sorry. She's living present in the moment, so that's
amazing.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But yeah, I think they made me think about like, okay, how serious am I taking life and for what? And while I know they are doing some of this, like I said, for money and entertainment, shock value, it's performative rather than like what they would probably do when they're not filming it.
I don't know. I think Christy might be like that in real life.
Probably. But that's my point, is like, what can I start to do, right? And what can we start to do? That's why we're bringing it to everybody, to take life a little less seriously.
Right. And not be bored. Well, I think it probably just starts with first shifting your mind, right? Like, I feel like some of us are moving on autopilot a little bit, whether that be because like the system, quote unquote, has brought you down. And so you feel like self-conscious about how you move, or just because you're not paying attention. And that could be because, you're tired, the world's weighing you down. But I think to the point around crunching the leaves and finding the small joys, it'd be the little things. And that what you choose to focus on and what you choose to put your energy towards, I think is the first kind of step to being and feeling less bored with your life.
And not getting stuck in like mindless activities, I think is the biggest one. Mindless activities where you can compare.
Right, like a good old doom scroll. Because it could be real easy to feel like everybody on the internet is going all the places, doing all the things, having all the adventures, making all the friends. But like, it's very refreshing. I was watching a podcast, I know, on the internet, where a creator was talking about they have another creative friend who uses the internet for their business, but then will be on the internet.
Yeah.
And they enjoy having conversations with them because they'll talk about this, whatever's trending or something that's going on the internet. And it feels like everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it. And then she'll go to her friend and be like, oh my God, can you believe everybody's talking about boo, 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 boo? And she's like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And then you realize, oh, the internet is not everyone on the world. It's actually not even the people in my circle or what like people in my sphere are talking about or doing. It's just this pocket of the internet that I found that I've zoomed in on because the algorithm will show me 17 million videos now on that topic because I watched one. It's like if you zoom out a little bit, everybody is not doing all the things you're not doing. And you lose focus on the things you could be doing.
Yeah. And I just think when we're stuck on there, we don't think for ourselves about what we might want to do.
Yeah, and that crunching on leaves is fun, even if other people don't think it is.
Right. I'm not knocking your fall crunchy leaves because I do agree it is a satisfying sound. It just wasn't what I was expecting you to say.
I'm not boring. Expect the unexpected.
Right. But you are breaking up your routine, right?
Mm-hmm,
With some fun activities. But I like Christy and Kyra because I feel like they break up their routines with fun activities, right? Like you're always going to be with your husband, or you're always going to have to get dressed for work. But can you get dressed and try out those shoes and do a cartwheel?
Right, and be careful. It's not for everybody to be doing cartwheels. Don't want you in the hospital now.
Or can you pour your drink into that fish tank and drink it?
I might have to look that video up because that sounds logistically challenging, but perhaps provided some giggles and could be fun.
Yes, but also just in general, she's like collecting something that makes her life more pleasurable. Hold on, I'm sorry. Pause. I need a tissue. We're back.
She got her tissue. I think we're saying all this to say, if you feel like your life is boring, but you don't know where to start, don't feel like you got to overhaul your whole life and start drinking out of fish tanks. You can start small and like break up the monotony of your day-to-day routine by doing, or your monthly routine, or whatever the cadence you want to use, to make sure that you have some sort of fun or adventure in whatever way that means to you. That reminds me of a coworker I have who is always telling me to use my PTO, and I'm like, girl, I'm gonna get there. But she
told me about this.
She make sure she uses some so that accrual will keep on accruing. She's like, I'm at the cap. I don't want to be there. Smart. Take notes on that. But secondly, once a month at least, she'll take a Friday or a Monday, or a Friday and a Monday off to go do something. So she's like, during the week, she goes to work. On her weekend, she might go on a hike or see a friend or whatever. And then once a month, she'll make sure she takes a couple days of PTO. And that's every month. Most people don't think about using their PTO that way.
It's like, let me stock up for a big trip.
Right. But she uses hers as a part of a way to break up her regular routine. And now it's like a part of her regular routine to take this extra PTO to, instead of going on her local hike, she's going to go hike somewhere she's never gone before, because that's what she enjoys doing, being in nature. Or she's going to go visit her family who lives in SoCal. So it doesn't have to be like this big Herculean thing you do to break up the quote unquote boring in your life every day. It could be something you look forward to monthly, and something that you schedule so that you can still maintain your boring responsibilities, but also, providing a little adventure in your life too. So I thought I think it is very good of her to do so. And she inspires me to use my PTO a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm like, you have me thinking about someone else too, because my issue is I can have fun Friday through Sunday, but Monday through Thursday, I cannot. And that's a problem for me. Not a problem it depends, right? So you be self-aware. But for me, I'm like, why can't I get myself to do stuff after work when there's still like 8 hours of the day?
Right. And you get off early enough to go to happy hour drinks or
whatever,
a book club or whatever.
Like I had my pottery, but even when I was doing pottery after work, there was days I was like, oh, I do not
felt
want
like
to go to this pottery.
Right. You paid for it.
Right. But I paid for it, so I was for sure there. But that's not, I'm like, why? But I'm bored, right? When I'm at home, it's not, bored is not the right word.
You're not engaged.
I'm not engaged. I'm maybe unfulfilled with what I'm doing. So then I'm like, so then you should get up and go to pottery. And I always felt good once I got there. But like I've said, transitions is not my favorite thing. So if I get home and I'm sitting and I'm comfy, then I don't want to necessarily go switch to the next activity, but I'm bored. And so that's the self-reflection that I have to have. And maybe, I don't know if you can relate. Like you go home after a day, the today drains me vibe. And then you just sit and rot. Or if you have kids, maybe you take care of them, but then you sit and rot, right? And so I don't know. There's just so much more that we could be doing. And so I've had to have that small mental shift of right now in this transition period, you don't want to do it. But once you get there, you will.
Right. Because a lot of it is just getting to the space to engage in the activity. Because there's this like mental gymnastics you got to do to get yourself there sometimes.
It's like all the traffic and all the this and
I
all
can totally relate to that.
But it doesn't have to be that way. I just need to stop thinking about it.
Going back to that mindset shift.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's so much easier to just sit down and scroll, right? Than it is to, because it doesn't require me any sort of pivot. I can just pick up my phone and do.
And that's how them apps be getting you, child.
It is. And that's what they want, right? But I'm like,
designed for that.
But then when I look over my week and I'm like, dang, somebody asked me, how are you? What did you do this week? I ain't do not a dang thing but go to work. Because I just be chilling. But yeah, so I think having that energy shift can be helpful. So like, what are some things that do feel good to do after work? If going all the way to a class feels like a lot, can I might have meal prepped, right? On Sunday. So during the week, I might lay out my plate all nice and make it cute because I don't have to make the food. I just have to plate the food. So that's something that feels kind of nice for me. Some nights we might go out, and she laughs because me and my boyfriend, we have not the best parking. So we be out and about together. Running errands. Carpool. Basically running errands. But that breaks up our routine of just being at home sitting. It's like, where are you going? Okay, I'm gonna come. Let's go. And now we're having a car party with our music on. And it's like crunching leaves, right? It's not that exciting, but it's different from our normal routine. It allows us to have a little bit of connection time where there's no interruptions from our phone. We're just vibing out in the car. But it's a little bit of a shift. And I feel like if we can start to recognize when we do those little shifts, that could help.
Absolutely.
Because our lives, maybe it's not even that, right? Like that our lives are boring. It's that how we think about our lives is the problem.
Right. And it goes back to the mindset shift we talked about at the beginning of the episode. And just like part of it is how you view your life and understanding the free will that you have to make the changes you feel like you need to see if you don't feel like your life is what you want it to be. Because at the end of the day, we're grown. And while you do have some responsibilities, I'm sure there's also room for you to be responsible and like responsive to yourself and your own needs. And I think to self.
Note to self and embracing the weird, I think. Because my two examples are two people who are just kind of doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we stop ourselves from doing things because of the perception it might have, like, or what people might think.
You just reminded me of a time that so shout out to my old roommate, Cassie. We used to come home from gymnastics practice and then just like put on a random music video and learn the dances. They don't be making music videos like they used to anymore. So, now they all TikToks or whatever. But like, it was not good, but we would do it.
Right.
And it was something we'd do for a couple hours just for fun. And at that point in time, at least most people were not filming themselves doing dance videos like that and posting it on the internet. So we literally just did it to learn it, to do it. And while that may not necessarily be weird, we might have looked a little weird doing it.
But well, I guess it's silly, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It was silly.
You allowed some silliness. And so that could be another thing to reflect on is like, do you allow some silliness into your life to break up the boring and the mundane and the thing that you normally would be doing?
I'm like, what could I do to be silly right now? Dancing would still be silly.
Well, you saw my toxic trait TikTok.
I did. My
toxic trait is that I think I can do any TikTok dance that I see online.
And then your body tells you otherwise.
My hips don't move like that no more. They cannot. They're stuck. But
maybe y'all can tell us in the comments what are some silly activities we could get into, because I could have a little more silly in my life.
I think we probably all can. There's a lot of like serious. There's just a lot of serious. There's a lot of complaints. And there's just so much like focus on breaking generational curses and healing yourself, which is obviously what we like to talk about here too. But the reason we brought this up was like, do we embrace the silly? Do we embrace the joy? Do we allow more space for that?
Right. We was feeling a little boring over here. We was feeling a little too serious over here. And
there's just balance. There's duality. So like, yes, you could be working on yourself every single day, but there's joy in that too. And don't look at that working on yourself as boring. So, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do we have more to say on this? I feel like that was the main point. It was like, you got free will, change your mind, do what brings you joy. And hopefully it's a little silly.
And I know we're asking you to share, like, what are some things that are silly or bring you joy? What makes your life feel not boring or fulfilling? But do you have an answer for yourself right now? Besides crunchy leaves.
I mean, sometimes I keep coming back to dance because I just feel like moving your body is always makes me feel good. And so sometimes me and my husband would just turn on music and dance. It's very
Fun.
cheesy. I'm sure if you watched us, you would laugh. We'd be laughing.
Is
Or
it
like
fast
singing.
dance, slow dance? What kind of music?
Well, it depends on the mood, but it usually is like some old school, like Luther Vandross, but a little upbeat. Not we not waltzing, slow dancing.
Hey, I don't know.
But a little smooth R&B sometimes is good too. But yeah, we just laugh because he can't sing. I think I can sometimes. I sound better than him, so I take pride in that. But anyway, I don't know. We just make each other laugh with our dance moves, and it's fun.
That sounds like a good way to break up the mundane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what I do. I mean, I kind of shared, I feel like I've shared about this, my journey to improving my style.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I've been doing lately to feel less boring. Because if you don't put effort into yourself, that can also feel boring.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's been my focus lately, is putting more effort into myself, because you don't feel bored if you feel good.
Yeah. And if you're doing something for yourself, you're likely not just sitting, right? You're likely engaged in some way, shape, or form, which I think almost automatically means you're not bored.
Mm-hmm. And trying to cook new things and just do things a little bit more differently than I used to. Be more open to going out during the week rather than sitting down. So I did ask my friend the other day, like, do you do things during the week?
And I know a lot of people who do.
And she was like, yeah. And I was like, great.
Like, I think of my friend Angel. She's somebody who's always going somewhere. And it doesn't even have to be far. She might be going to get a drink after work, or driving to go see her parents, or going with her parents to go to some random bar because they got a 80s music night. And those are things I'd be like,
Yeah, one of my coworkers goes to trivia with her friends on Thursday nights or something. And I'm like, interesting.
Right. But it goes back to your point around the like mental piece of it, because like trivia, that sounds like something I would eat up. But driving the trivia, getting the trivia, planning the trivia, that turns me off. But maybe I need to find some friends to go to trivia with.
Yeah, or create trivia at your house. Invite people over to do trivia.
Well, this is where I get in my head, because I feel like none of my friends live close to me, so I feel like I'm always like, if you come to me, that's so far. I feel like I'm inconveniencing people.
So then you need to be able to be the main character.
Yeah.
They'll come. If they don't want to, they won't.
True. But I won't know unless I try.
Exactly.
Mindset.
But if you feel like you need to make it the perfect setting for people, then it's never going to happen.
My perfectionism showing, guys.
But yeah, I think it's just some things to think about. So what are some small changes that you might make, or some small, I don't even think if we want to call it changes, but small additions to your already lived life to make it feel a little bit better?
Yeah, because I think if you make the conscious choice to show up for yourself differently, you'll be surprised at how much more fulfilled your life can be.
Embrace the weird.
Embrace the weird, yes.
But yeah, I think that's all we really had to say today. It's not a long episode, short and sweet.
Yeah. Now that you're done listening, please subscribe and then go do something weird.
Yay.
See you in the next one.
Bye.